All right, today we are doing tow truck driver steals ICE SUV. Well, it's extremely funny situation of a tow truck driver or a car just taking away an ICE vehicle. It still shouldn't happen.
So do you remember this viral video of a tow truck pulling out a law enforcement vehicle mid-ICE raid and driving off with it despite the fact that those sirens went off? I remember this video, and my first reaction upon seeing this is that there is no way that this guy is not getting arrested for these actions, and it turns out the prophecy has in fact been fulfilled, and now the man behind this tow truck stunt is facing 10 years in federal prison for theft of government property and intervening in a government operation, which is the most obvious thing that you are going to get charged with when you show up to an ICE raid and attempt to steal a vehicle during said ICE raid. And then you can't even play ignorant, you can't even play dumb when law enforcement tries to confront you. They try to get you to drop off the vehicle, but you decide to keep going off despite the fact that the sirens are blaring from said vehicle. Again, as seen.
It really is ridiculous when you think about it. You know, you're for helping illegal immigrants. If you're in the country illegally, you're a criminal because you've committed the crime of entering the country illegally. But also, along with that, you are, at this point, stepping beyond helping criminals. You are at the point of hindering the law enforcement. Yeah, that's a crime
in the
right
video.
There.
Now, we are going to get into this. I'm going to tell you the secret behind the person who was in fact being arrested at this moment in time, the one that this super simp decided to save. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who doesn't steal my vehicle over at actualjusticewarrior.com.
Tonight at 11, a rogue tow truck driver snatches an immigration agent's government SUV right in the middle of a raid in downtown LA. That raid targeting a popular influencer seen being pulled from her car and arrested.
So according to the local news media, the person that actually inspired this action is the woman that is on the ground being arrested at the moment in time during the raid. She happens to be a TikTok influencer, I believe, who goes around.
Well, I'm happy it's still here, as, it's a place that everybody was already existent. TikTok really should have been banned. We really shouldn't have kept that thing around. That is destroying the minds of the young. It is absolutely abhorrent. I get enough of the short-related content through YouTube and Instagram Reels that I am just sitting here like, if I had a platform specifically dedicated to those, I would have no time to do anything. I'd be mindless zombie, just la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da, one by one, all day long, every day. And no, not at all.
Of filming ICE raids and essentially tries to rally people to show up to stop people in the United States of America from enforcing our own immigration laws. Now, this is an especially dumb idea considering that woman in particular, according to the federal government, is in the United States of America illegally. She actually came to this country from Colombia during Biden's open border, got arrested
during Biden's open border. Why are we not surprised? Yeah, they're also getting rid of people who have been here for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. But, hey, entering the illegally, to me, the longer you were in the country illegally, the worse it is. Because you had ample opportunities to get your citizenship, figure it out how to be a legal individual in the country you want to reside in.
For DUI, and she decided to.
And, you didn't get that citizenship in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So, yes, you 100% deserve to go back home, even if you have zero attachment to that anymore.
would keep the lowest profile humanly possible after not being deported after being convicted of that crime. And by lowest profile possible, I mean go out, confront immigration agents, tell them that they can't enforce our own laws here in the United States of America, only to be shocked and horrified when those very laws were enforced against her, because again, she quite literally is showing up to the raids saying, I'm an illegal immigrant, I'm above the law, and she happened to find out that that is not the case.
FAFO.
But again, we got to get into this whole tow truck driver situation and all these acts of resistance, as the local ABC affiliate describes them, and how comically stupid they are, and of course, how illegal they are, and how they will definitely result in you being arrested and sentenced to serious time in prison.
Hey, Mark, ever since ICE began their raids across Los Angeles, we've seen citizens act in acts of resistance against them. Some of them are small, like shouting or pleading with the officers. Others are violent and illegal, like throwing objects at their vehicles. This guy took matters into his own hands and took one of their vehicles away. Federal immigration agents sent scrambling in downtown Los Angeles when a tow truck operator takes off with one of their vehicles as they were making an arrest last month.
So look, obviously you are allowed to protest ICE raids, obviously you're allowed to shout at those people, but when you escalate to the point of violence and or property theft, that is when you've crossed the line. When you're physically impeding ICE agents, that is also when you cross the line, and obviously this guy right here stealing a police car mid-raid is absolutely insane in every possible way, and I can only imagine what the consequences would be, how much more trouble he would be in if the person that they were trying to arrest actually had a weapon and used that opportunity to physically assault, injure, or kill ICE agents, while this guy decided to make his statement about how much he don't like ICE, how bad they are, and how we definitely 100% should not have immigration laws in the United States of America. Again,
Without borders, a country is nothing. Without borders and enforced borders, a country will be overrun by its enemies. If you have no way to stop just the average person from sneaking into your country, how are you going to prevent a hostile nation from just coming in, sending their military-age trained men in under the guise of, oh, I'm here for amnesty. My country's falling apart, so I need to come to yours. Like, no, go home and fix your country. Band together. Get enough of you. How do you think the Americas started? We started by toppling the largest colonizing nation on the planet, the British.
I don't know how you can think that you would get away with this, unless of course it's 2020 and during the Black Lives Matter riots. Then you could burn down police precincts and the city will somehow pay you out money later on as an apology because you might have gotten a little burn, a little singe on your arm when you were setting police stations on fire. But yeah, this is absurd. This is ridiculous. Obviously you're going to get arrested for this. This is the least controversial arrest in maybe American history, and yet people are saying ICE very heavy-handed. And by the way, there's a less than 0% chance that when this guy goes to trial and they pull a jury from Los Angeles, that this guy won't be just acquitted on all these charges. That could actually...
Juries should be made up of people from as many different walks of life, politically, in every bit of way. What did I just do? Back up. I did back up. I went forward.
So of course we have one of the federal attorneys from the Los crazy.
Now that tow truck driver, Bobby Nunez, posting the arrest to X, writing, apparently he thought it would be funny to interfere with our immigration enforcement operations. Now he can laugh behind bars while he faces justice.
So of course we have one of the federal attorneys from the Los Angeles area posting about this, saying that this guy thought it would be amusing in order to engage in this kind of behavior. Obviously it revved up the crowd, as we showed you from the raw video earlier on. There's all sorts of captions of this video about how this guy knew the assignment. He understood what's what, but apparently he did not understand what's what because, again, he is now facing 10 years in federal prison, and it's such an obvious case that but for a jury being super left-wing and against him, he should serve that time because obviously you can't have this happen. So yeah, it seems like a disastrous decision, but apparently he did this for an illegal immigrant influencer.
But Nunez got involved trying to help 24-year-old Tatiana Martinez, who was violently arrested by ICE back on August 15th. The government says she was in the country illegally and was convicted of a DUI.
So for those of you who are unaware...
You enter the country illegally for one crime, and then you go to commit a DUI, which is, in my opinion, one of the worst crimes you can choose to do in that way, because you are not only putting your own life at risk, you are putting anyone else you potentially smack into at risk as well.
Where Tatiana Martinez is a popular influencer that, again, like I said earlier on, is against immigration enforcement in the United States of America, who simultaneously has been arrested for DUI, who simultaneously is here illegally according to the Trump administration, although it is contested by her attorney. They say she was seeking asylum. She's actually from Colombia, but again, if you're seeking asylum in the United States of America and you went from Colombia, which means you passed through about 5 or 6 countries as a mechanism in order to get here, I'm very skeptical of those claims, but considering she was able to get a free pass from the Biden administration...
That shouldn't be allowed, just claiming asylum from any country just to come here. You should have to have, like, a valid reason, evidence. You should bring literally something that makes it proof that you are actually in danger. If you can't have that, then no, you cannot come here.
In order to come into this country, and then she uses her time in this country to disparage it nonstop. I don't really give a damn. She got arrested for a DUI, so you could send
that. And if you come to the United States, you should be pro-United States, not pro helping even more people from your home country leave there, making that country worse, and coming here, making our country worse, because, well, neither of you are actually doing much to benefit the United States. The average immigrant does not benefit illegal immigrant does not benefit the country in any meaningful way.
Send her back, and if she really needs asylum, guess what? There's Mexico, there's Guatemala, there's a bunch of different countries in between Colombia and here that she can feel free to stop into, but in reality, we should not take this woman's asylum claim seriously. And by the way, they talk about how the arrest was violent. If you actually watch the video, which will be linked in the description, they carried her out of the car because she was resisting arrest and refused to get out of the car. So
why am I not surprised? It's like the typical playbook at this point. You resist, you claim it was violent and abusive, yet you did nothing to cooperate. All you had to do is cooperate. I've seen so many cases of... Actually, I've seen specifically 2 cases of college-age guys who get pulled over by a cop. The cop assumes they were drinking or something, and then they refuse field sobriety tests, so the cop takes them to jail to blow into the PBR, and then they blow a freaking 0.0, and it's like, oh yeah, duh. Now this is a false arrest. Now you have evidence that you can take to a lawyer, and then you can get some money. So many people would be able to get just like a free check, just because sometimes cops do screw up. And those screw-ups should be made more public. But when things like this happen, to where you get someone who's resisting, uncooperative, they are just taking every single one an opportunity to just badger and belittle the cop and be, just combative. It's like, yeah, he's going to get a little rough with you. You might get thrown on the ground too. But will your lawyer come in and say that was brutality due to the events leading up to it? Probably not.
Wasn't violent for no reason. They didn't just punch her in the face because they were like, hey, Latina chick, pow. The reason she was actually arrested in a physical manner is because she was resisting arrest. She was performing because apparently she was on TikTok live at the time of her arrest. And by the way, this woman would actually stream these ICE raids to about 47,000 followers. So definitely she was drawing a lot of attention.
What? I mean, yeah, I bet you some of that audience is just people enjoying it, watching ICE take illegal aliens and criminals out of the country and get rid of them. But, like, how many of that audience is like, no, not another one, we have to save them. No, they're taking my friends.
To law enforcement in the United States of America, which she was against, and it turns out law enforcement happened to be against her, so she needs to pack up her stuff and get the hell up out of here. Again, we don't need people who are going to come to this country. They're going to say that they need asylum, they need help, they're scared of what's going down in the nation of Colombia, that are also going to get drunk and start driving and potentially killing people within this country. But apparently, she's not only entitled to do so, but we have to take orders from this lady. And by the way, the tow trucker, again, a simp for this woman, followed suit, and it might cost him 10 years in prison.
Her attorney says,
I hope he gets the full 10 years. That would discourage more copycats.
she did have the DUI, but is here legally, saying when she arrived from Colombia 3 years ago, she presented herself at the border, was processed, allowed entry, and given a work permit.
We believe
That's because 3 years ago, they didn't really do much at the border for sending away. They said, come in, come in, come in. We want you. Oh, you're a criminal? Great, we'll send you to Chicago. You'll fit right in.
at this point, based on things that have been said to her, is that because she was out filming ICE activities, she was targeted.
Now, of course, the attorney for this woman says that she was actually targeted due to the fact that she was filming ICE agents. And by the way, that might be a way for them to kind of smuggle in the premise that she was targeted for her free speech. But again, if you're somebody who makes a scene at multiple raids, if you're somebody who causes a lot of suspicion, and it turns out on your public profile, you end up revealing that you are in this country under dubious justifications, the idea that people aren't going to look into you is absurd and ridiculous. And then when a DUI pops, when you have shown to be a danger to the United States of America,
I think if you enter the country illegally and commit 0 crimes for X amount of time, you should be always allowed to be applied to become a legal citizen. However, if at all during the time of you being in the country illegally, you commit a second crime, gone immediately. I don't care.
Despite the fact that you have a fraudulent asylum claim on the books.
And I don't care if that crime was, a misdemeanor theft or murder. You're leaving. If it's murder, you're leaving, and we're telling the country that we are going to, hey, this person just murdered someone, FYI.
The idea that that's wrong for that to lead to an immigration operation against you, also absurd. Again, this woman basically held up a giant sign that said, I'm here illegally, I'm against ICE, I dare you to enforce the law against me, and guess what? She found out. She found out in the most obvious way.
ICE has also continued to target Home Depots to pick up day laborers. It happened again today at this Home Depot in Hawthorne. The roundup included a man on dialysis whose daughter tells us she now fears he won't get the treatment he needs to survive while in custody.
Now, of course, the local news affiliate ends up telling you about the raids that are going on at Home Depot. They say that one of these guys actually is on dialysis, and they talk to a member of his family who presumably is also here illegally in the country, and she's really worried that this guy's not going to get the free medical care that he needs in order to take care of his issues. And I do feel bad for a guy that is on dialysis. I hope that he gets a kidney transplant or something else that he actually needs. But in reality, if Los Angeles and California actually wanted these raids at Home Depot to stop, then what they should do is turn over criminals after they're convicted to ICE, because if you'll remember, the reason for these operations in these left-wing cities is explicitly to punish these cities that are breaking federal law in other regards. If you're not...
Yeah, sanctuary cities are a detriment to everybody within them. Excuse me. To the people who are legal citizens, they, are at higher risk of having a crime committed against them be having some kind of offense going at them. And to the illegal immigrants in the cities, they now have to face ICE raids that come in to take them. And if they're not a criminal with a warrant where the ICE's guys are heading right after them, because that's how that works. They know where the criminal is because Los Angeles arrested the guy, went, oh, he's an illegal immigrant. You set him free. Sanctuary policy. And then it's like, okay, now we have to go into his neighborhood or to his job and find him. And if he's hanging out with someone else who is illegal, they're going to take him too. Like Tom Homan said, they're not just going to, you've gotten this guy that you're hunting, and then you've gotten a second, prize offered up on a platter right next to him. It's like, well, yeah, I'm going to take that one too. Duh.
Going to tell us where the criminals are. If you're not going to turn these people over so we can get the dangerous people out, then essentially what the federal government is going to do in response to that, and by the way, this has been explicitly stated as policy, is go to the places where they expect to find illegal aliens. So again, we're in a situation where Los Angeles essentially made it this way. We're in a situation where an activist essentially made it this way, and a regular ass tow truck driver ended up getting suckered into all of this. And now his life is likely to be ruined due to the fact that he decided to commit a crime on behalf of a TikTok influencer.
And we have learned that the judge ordered to release Bobby Nunez on a $10,000 bond. He did not enter a plea today. We tried to speak to his family in court today, but we were unsuccessful. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Nunez is charged with theft of government property, the whole thing, and his arrest caught on video.
Now look, as of right now, Bobby Nunez is out on bond. They ended up putting up a $10,000 bond. I think this is perfectly fair because in reality, this was a non-violent crime. And again, he's facing a significant sentence, but obviously the judge saw enough to see that this person was likely to return to court based on that bond amount. But again, I would just point out that you have
I agree with the bond on this one. It was a fairly high bond at $10,000 for a citizen who's not, typically known to be wealthy. So this one is fair. And along with that, he's been deemed not a flight risk, so he's not going to try to flee the country to avoid, his prison time, even though, he should probably just run back to whatever country he came from if he is an illegal. If he's not, he shouldn't have done that in the first place, because that was just stupid.
33-year-old guy who seemingly had a decent job, again, was driving a tow truck, operating something that requires, I believe, a commercial driver's license, and yet he threw it all away because some influencer inspired him to be an absolute idiot, and considering that influencer is a drunk driver and probably somebody who would have gotten into an accident at some point in time and required a tow truck to get her vehicle out of there, it seems like this was all rather pointless and stupid. Now, of course, we will keep up on this. We will talk about this in the future, depending on how this case plays out. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you have a divine right to steal government property in the middle of a raid? Or is this level of disorder and chaos so dangerous and so ridiculous that the feds had to crack down? Again, all your thoughts down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show me.
Yeah, like you said, if you like it, show him a like, show me a like, and then, doing something like this should just be grounds immediate for a quick trial if you're proven to be the person who drove a tow truck, backed it up, hooked under a government vehicle, and then quickly whipped away with it. Like, yes, you should be charged with at least 10 years in prison, because that'll deter others from doing it. If you get in and your crime is like a year in prison, or you don't even get you're found innocent on charges because you got some woke jury over there who just he's a nice guy, he can get off, he's okay, let him go, please. Like, no, we needed much tougher on crime. America cannot be pro-criminal. We need to be pro-protection for all citizens.